Good evening, friends. Meeting again after a gap of 2 days with the fresh session of the Materia Medica. We are discussing regarding sulfur, and last three sessions we have discussed about a lot about the sulfur. A big polycrest, and it is rather difficult to finish it within even 4 lectures. It has a lot of significance and it has wide action. In fact, it is the greatest antisoric uh, discovered by Hahnemann as an antisoric remedy when he discovered the chronic miasms, specifically when he discovered the soric miasm. And it has a multiple facets. That's those we are discussing. Today we're going to finish this session with this session, this remedy. But before that, few cases. In fact, not a few cases, but I will share one case in my mind, which was there. Which it was nearly about just in during the COVID time. It has happened. A patient who was treated with the COVID, he was admitted over there. He has a patch in right lung and associated with pleurisy. And he was hospitalized nearly about 15 days. He has taken the remdesivir, then steroids, a very high dose of steroids in injectable forms, which was given over there, and strong antibiotics. All things were given. Then he settled, he survived, he came out, but he was having chronic cough. Nearly about 3 months, the cough was not disappearing. And every time, whenever he used to go to follow for the same thing in that hospital with that physician, he used to give him every time a different antibiotics, but it was not getting settled. Every time he has taken the X-ray, and there was a pleurisy which was remaining over there after the mm, uh, after the COVID, and which was not getting resolved. All tuberculin test was done, then the ESR was checked, the ESR has settled, but it was persistently little bit high. Then his count was found to be a normal. Everything was in a proper thing, but the pleural effusion, which was persistent over there, and that was not disappearing, irritating the cough and irritating the pain over there. So he, after taking all those treatments for 3 months consecutively, then someone have suggested why not to try homeopathy, and then he was brought to me. And he had very typical right pleural effusion over there with a typical stitch over there. So I examined, I took his case, everything, and after an acute exanthema, if pleural effusion which never gets absorbed, it remains. Any type of effusion, whenever it remains and not getting settled, even you give a right remedy. The bryonia was given to him, that never worked. So after giving a bryonia, after giving a calimeraticum, it persists for longer time of duration. The one must give one dose of antisori, because that is the resolution which is not happening in this case. So after I have started with bryonia, bryonia never worked. So I considered this is the resolution phase which is not happening. So I have given one dose of sulfur 30. And after sulfur 30, within 8 days, whole picture changed. Within 8 days, everything has changed. The patient has recovered so nicely after sulfur that within a week, his cough totally stopped, and then we took his x-ray again, and whole pleural effusion disappeared. So this is a one important remedy which mentioned by Allen over there, that if in any type of effusion is there, it might be in brain, it might be in the pleura, it might be in the joints, it might be in pericardial. If it never disappears after giving bryonia or calimeraticum, which are very important remedies in effusion, then one must think of sulfur, and sulfur clears that. So on the basis of that, when I used the sulfur, it really produced the wonderful result in that case, and that patient recovered very nicely from his cough as well as from his stage. So one must understand whatever the sentences uttered by Allen over there has a lot of meaning. Only thing is that we have to catch those and apply it in practice. So let us go to the last part of this remedy. We have finished up to the skin. We have read everything. We have considered the constitution, then different right from the head to the all the rest organs which we have finished, even female genital complaints that also we have discussed. Let us go with the last part, that is skin, which is very important because whole thing revolves around the skin itself. So what he says, boils coming in crops in various parts of the body, or a single boil is succeeded by another as soon as the first is healed, like tuberculosis. Recurrent boils, very typical, crops of boils, multiple boils, or if one disappears, another comes up. Then it disappears, another comes up. This variety of consecutive development of this, specifically the boils, is always there with this remedy. So this is very important remedy specifically in the boils. Then second thing, the skin. Skin, there is itching, voluptuous. Voluptuous means tremendous, can't control. And that type of itching is sulfur itching. Sulfur skin is always dry and patient goes on scratching, scratching, scratching until it bleeds. That is very typical with this remedy. And that's why sulfur is one of the important remedy. One should not forget, specifically itching is voluptuous, scratching ameliorates. Patient scratches. How much it scratches? He scratches until it bleeds. Feels good to scratch. Scratching causes burning, aggravated from the heat of bed like murk, and soreness in the folds like lycopodium. So the folds of the skin in the elbows, in the popliteal fossas, at the ankles, wherever the folds are there, in the axilla, if the eruptions are persistent, think one remedy lycopodium, and the next remedy follows well is the sulfur. If there is more dryness, think of a lycopodium, think of a sulfur first, because sulfur eruptions are more dry and more itchy than the lycopodium. Lycopodium has little bit scaling over there. That's why lycopodium is a very good remedy in the lichen planus or in the psoriasis, where the psorosyphilitic tendency is marked. Sulfur, you have more boils, more eczematous patches you can get in sulfur. Skin affections that have been treated by medicated soaps and washes, hemorrhoids that have been treated with ointments. So wherever the skin elements which are treated with local ointments, local steroids, local creams and suppressed, this remedy is a wonderful remedy to treat that. To facilitate absorption of serous or inflammatory exudates in the brain, pleura, lungs, joints, when bryonia, kalimur, or best selected remedies fail. Yes, this is what this was the case. So this is very specific indication of the sulfur. So bryonia, we have discussed on that day. The bryonia has effusion. It is exudate which happens to be there, and that's why bryonia has, if it is in the wherever the serous membranes are there, bryonia and kalimur plays very vital role. Another remedy which should not forget is kali carbonicum in such types of things. So whenever such types of serous effusions are there and which are not getting absorbed, the sulfur is one of the important remedy one should follow after the bryonia and kalimur. Chronic alcoholism, yes, this is again a very important remedy. Acid sulfuricum, it removes the craving for alcohol. Sulfur is also very important remedy from chronic alcoholism. Dropsy and other elements of the drunkards. So dropsy, ascites, persistent ascites is a very important indication when it is alcoholic dropsy or alcoholic ascites. They reform but are continually relapsing, like soranum, like tuberculinum. And this is what you can get in sulfur also. So there is again and again the dropsy develops, again and again the ascites develops, and that this is related with the liver complaints. Sulfur plays very vital role over there. Nightly suffocative attacks. Once the door and windows open, become suddenly awake, wide awake at night, drowsy in the afternoon after sunset, wakefulness whole night. This is one feature. Here it is very close to the Naxomic also. But Nux is also like that. Nux wakes at night, 2 3 hours he can't get sleep. Again he gets sleep early in the morning, and then he wakes late and he was not fresh. That is the Naxomic sleep. Here the patient gets sleepless completely. Whole night he never sleeps properly. If your patient is insomnia, give the sulfur at night. If he is having the problem of insomnia, sleeplessness, give the remedy at night. But if patient is not having any problem of the sleep, then this remedy should not given at night. Then it should be given only in the morning. This is a practical hint mentioned by I cannot recollect, but this is the practical hint mentioned most probably by the Knight in his book. One should not forget this. So this is very important thing. Happy dreams, wakes up singing. This is good. They wakes up and they are singing. They are getting very beautiful dreams. This is too important. Regarding the sleep, yes. Regarding the sleep, if patient is insomnia, patient is not getting good sleep, and patient is of a sulfur, then you give sulfur at night. But if the patient is sulfur but getting good sleep, then you should not give it at night. Otherwise, it disturbs the sleep. That is what the specific indication which has been mentioned over there. So happy dreams, and these dreams are generally of a fantastic nature. Fancies are there with sulfur. Everything looks pretty, which the patient takes a fancy to. So fancy exaltation of sulfur is one of the important remedy. They always remains in fancies. That is the thing of the sulfur. So they talks with their own theories. They talks with their own philosophies. They always remains in a different world. It looks like specifically a drug remedy, but it is not a drug remedy. But it has many more features of the drug remedy. And last sentence, which is very important, even rags seems beautiful. So old rags seems beautiful. That is one most of the important thing, feature of the sulfur, and it is more philosophical. Sulfurs are more philosophical. They always talks with the philosophy. That is very typical with the sulfur. They talks, doctor. I feel. Then they talks. What Bhagavad Gita says. That is like that. They give the references. So their talk is full of verses of different things. So this is what is the sulfur. And last, movement in the abdomen as of a child, like crocus sativus and thuja. These are two important remedy having the similar features. That is the movement in the abdomen as of a child. Relationship, very important thing. Yeah. He has mentioned two important complementary, aloes and sorina. But if you open the Borix Mathematical, many more complementaries are mentioned. There are, I think, along with aconite, the list starts with aconite. Then there Naxomica, it is a complementary to the sulfur. There are many more which are mentioned over there. Aconite, arsenic, aloes, badiega, Naxomica, the sorinum. These are many remedies which are mentioned with the complementary. Allen's mentioned two aloes and sorinum. Elements from abuse of metals generally. If a patient who is consumed lot of metal remedy, sulfur is very important antidote for such things. Or whenever it never gets settled, then sulfur is very important remedy in between. Compatible, you can compare this remedy with Calcarea, Lyco, Pulsatilla, Sarsaparilla, and Sepia, closest remedy. There are two cycles mentioned here. One is with which you are familiar, sulfur, Calcarea, Lyco is very common. So Calcarea followed by Lyco followed by sulfur, but no reverse. So if you are giving sulfur, it should be followed by Calcarea, not by Lyco. If you are giving Lyco, it should be followed by sulfur, not by Calcarea. This is the cycle which one must know. There is one more cycle mentioned by Allen, and that is very essential to understand. Sulfur followed by sarsaparilla, followed by sepia. This another cycle, you must note it and keep it in your notes. This is very important cycle, one should not forget. So if your patient is sarsaparilla, then it should be followed by sepia, and after sepia you should follow it with sulfur. This is again a cyclical remedy relationship, one must know and one must follow the order. Calcarea must not be used before sulfur. Sulfur is chronic of aconite and follows it well in pneumonia and other acute diseases. So this is too important. Sulfur is called to be acute of the chronic of the aconite. Sulfur is also called to be a chronic of allosocotrina. Sulfur is also chronic of a naxomica. These are three acute remedies for which sulfur acts as a chronic as well as complementary. Specifically, when things are related with the pneumonias, you must think about the aconite followed by sulfur. If the things are related with the GI system, the acid peptic trouble, you must think about the sulfur as a complementary over there. If the things are related with the dysentery or the morning diarrhea, and if it is recurrent, think about the after the allows the sulfur. Aggravation, so general modalities, the aggravation at rest, aggravation when standing, that is the very typical with sulfur. Aggravation by warmth in bed, washing, bathing, and changeable weather like rust house. So these are common aggravation modalities of the sulfur, and then followed by the amelioration. Amelioration by dry, warm weather, lying on right side. It is the reverse of sternum. Sternum feels ameliorated by lying on left side. Here it gets ameliorated by lying on right side. So see, the sulfur, which is very thoroughly explained by Allen over there. So this is a wonderful remedy. One should not forget and understand the remedy from every aspect. So this is the polygraph. My suggestion to all of you that you read this remedy from the Borixmat Remedica and learn few more aspects which are not covered by the Allen. Because these are two books which gives you a different aspect in your mind in practical homeopathy. And second important thing from students' point of view, to recollect the Matra Medica, Allen's and Boric plays very vital role. Only thing is that you have to read them again and again. Then it remains in your mind, and that it comes, or whenever you're writing the paper or whenever you're giving the viva, it gets very easily recollected. So today we'll stop over here. We'll conclude this session with the sulfur, and then we'll start with the another remedy. Another remedy close to it, most probably from the second year's list. Any remedy? No. Just a minute, I will check the things. We have started. We'll go with the aconite, the first remedy which is complementary to the sulfur. Aconite, then we'll discuss the naxomica, again a complementary to the sulfur, so that we can understand the complementary remedy relationship also along with that. Okay, so that's all for today. Any queries are there, we'll have a chat, otherwise we'll conclude.
Sir, one question.
Yeah.
Patient having gallbladder stone 9 mm, 68 years, does not want to go for surgery. and one thing that is a burning sensation in stomach as well as chest. Taking all symptoms, I have given phosphorus, and for 200 phosphorus has given relief. For 2 days he got relief from burning sensation and continuous burning in the chest.
Okay.
So now today morning a patient called me, burning is there, burning is once again relapsing, and I advise to take frequent dose of phosphorus 200. Now, sir, what can I do? As patient is not going for surgery.
Where he has stone?
In gallbladder, sir. Gallbladder stone.
But
Yes.
and where there is a burning, it is in the stomach or
chest.
it is in the chest?
Chest,
okay.
sir.
And what about the
There is no pain. Sir, there is no pain in gallbladder, in liver region.
So,
yes.
if he is having burning, is there any specific modality with the burning? What
Yes.
aggravates it? What ameliorates it?
Yes, it aggravates in the morning, sorry, daytimes, that is the heat, and ameliorates ice cold water, drinking ice cold water.
Okay.
Freeze water.
That's what the patient has told.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, in which potency you have given the phosphorus?
Phosphorus 200, sir, I have given.
Okay. How many doses?
I have initially, I have, as it is a chronic acute case, I have given initially 3 hourly for 1 day, and he got relief from this burning.
My suggestion is that repeat it in hypotensive 1 1 dose only, and followed it with the biocombination 25 4 pills 3 times a day, and continue it for a week, and let us see what happens after a week.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, one thing. One thing, sir.
Yes.
Whether if we give phosphorus, we should also be cautious whether it is a blood thinner, something like this is they are telling.
Specifically in tuberculosis, you should use the phosphorus very cautiously if it is tuberculosis, because many times it produces hematemesis or hemoptysis all of a sudden after phosphorus. That's why in specifically whenever the things are related with tuberculosis, the phosphorus, kali cup, these remedies should not be used as an acute remedy or as a first remedy.
But otherwise we can use it, no, sir?
Otherwise it never causes any problem. Preeti has asked, sir, which potency of sulfuric acid should we use to remove the craving for? I used to use 30 in doses, not in repeated doses, only 3 doses of sulfuric acid 30. It has been mentioned that it should be given in the sulfuric acid diluted in water, etc. But I have not used it in diluted form. I have used it directly 30. There is one remedy, quercus, that is a very important remedy in removing the craving for alcohol. You can go for that along with that. So that's all for today. We'll meet again tomorrow with the philosophy session in the evening and night with new remedy, Econate. Okay? Thanks a lot. Good night.